Welcome to your Houston Rewind for the week of August 8th. I'm KHU11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. We're getting you caught up on some of the stories you might have missed this week, so you're ready for the next week. On Monday, we talked to a Houston woman who believes she and her sister were followed home after a weekend shopping trip. Thieves stole her sister's purse while they were unloading groceries. Janelle Bluda shares this is something a lot of people can relate to.
It's something we've all done.
We just got a lot of groceries.
A situation we've all been in.
We did leave it unlocked during that time, of course, with unloading our groceries.
You go to the store, come home, unload your groceries, never expecting someone may be waiting for an opportunity.
It's crazy that that's a vulnerable situation that you're put in, just putting your groceries away.
This Heights woman says she and her sister were at the grocery store Saturday, and then they stopped by the bakery. They came home to unload, and in the few minutes they were inside, it happened.
We quickly ran to the car and her purse had been stolen.
She believes they were followed home. In the video, you can see a car pulls up outside. A person who appears to be a woman slowly gets out and walks towards the house where the car is parked. Her hands are empty. She walks out of frame, but when she walks back to her car, she's holding a jacket. The homeowner says underneath that jacket is her sister's purse.
It's very violating and scary.
She says the woman went to a nearby store and spent about $700 in gift cards on her sister's credit cards. She's sharing what happened in hopes of protecting others from a similar fate.
Just keep your head on a swivel, like always, just be aware of your surroundings, never let your guard down, just don't trust anything or anybody.
Millions of Americans are struggling to make ends meet because of inflation. As they look for help, Tiffany Craig reports food banks and pantries are seeing a big jump in demand.
Long lines at food distribution events, a familiar sight across the country as charities see more people in need.
The prices of food are so high and they're going up higher every day.
Demand was already up during the pandemic. Food banks were hoping that would change this year, but it didn't.
Families making these decisions between filling their gas tank to get to work, paying the rent, paying utilities, other basic expenses, and meeting their food costs.
In June, prices at the grocery store rose more than 12%, the largest one-year increase since 1979, which is why pantry events are very welcome.
I'm really blessed, and the people of this community are blessed really for this to be going on.
At the Houston Food Bank, demand is up more than 30% from June last year to this year. It's the largest food bank in the country, very busy, and always accepting donations.
If you're in a position to give, consider going out for Houston Restaurant Weeks. Hundreds of local restaurants are offering multi-course meals for a fixed price, and a portion of sales goes to the Houston Food Bank. Restaurant Weeks runs through September 5th, and we have more information on KHOU.com.
It's likely another rough season for the Texans, but on August 8th, let's give this team a W. The Texans have lowered prices on the most ordered food and drinks based on conversations with our fans. So what does that mean for you when you're at NRG? Hot dogs will be $3.75. They used to be $5.49. That's a savings of roughly 32%. Chicken tenders basket, 23% cheaper than a year ago. A 20-ounce Coke, 22% less, now at $3.75. And beer now costs $7.95. It was $8.69. Houston is not the first team to do this. The Falcons cut their prices on their most popular food and drinks by roughly half back in 2018 and saw fans buy 50% more because it was more economical than tailgating. These Texans, well, they may be tough to watch in 2022, but with cheaper beer and hot dogs, at least they'll be easier to stomach.
On Tuesday, we heard from the family of a toddler killed in a freak accident involving a concrete truck. The family's SUV was parked along the feeder road when the truck crashed through a barrier and fell on top of the SUV. The child's twin survived the crash, along with his grandmother and mother. Jason Miles spoke with the family.
The Resendez family considers it a miracle 3 out of 4 of them riding in this SUV last Friday avoided serious injuries when a concrete truck literally landed on top of them after flying off the beltway at Woodforest Boulevard. Sadly, 22-month-old Nicholas lost his short life in an instant, leaving behind his twin sister Melanie, who was in a car seat next to him, mother Jennifer, and others.
What are you going to tell his twin sister about him?
That he loved her, that he will always be with us.
Jennifer Resendez is still too emotional to talk a lot about what happened, as her siblings try and provide as much comfort as they can.
I guess we're all just sad that he got taken away so early, and that his sister won't be able to be with him no more or have a play buddy.
You know, it's been 3 days, 4 days since then. If I feel like I'm gonna wake up, I feel like I'm gonna wake up from this bad dream.
The twins would have had a joint baptism this coming Saturday. In fact, the family tells me they were on the way to look at party supplies when the crash occurred. Now they're raising money via this GoFundMe page to help pay for Nicholas's funeral.
We're trying to give him the best funeral that we can give him.
Honoring who they describe as a happy, energetic kid with so much life ahead of him.
The Harris County Sheriff's Office says the crash is still under investigation and that findings will be presented to a grand jury for review. The 36-year-old driver of the concrete truck wasn't seriously hurt. The Texas juvenile prison system is on the brink of collapse. Some detention facilities are enforcing 23-hour lockdowns because they don't have the staff or resources for anything else. That means the kids there can't make a trip to the bathroom except for 1 hour a day. Gerald Harris examines how it got to this point.
The details on the conditions of the Texas Juvenile Justice Department are striking. We heard testimony today in a Texas House Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee hearing from teachers and caseworkers taking on security roles to near 24-hour lockdowns in cells, forcing juvenile detainees to use what they have to relieve themselves.
Some students are having to urinate in water bottles, accurate?
So, yes.
Chandra Carter, the interim executive director of TJJD, says a lot of the issues constraining them are staffing issues.
The new hire turnovers, we are just grinding through them. About 40% of our people have been with us for 5 years or more. They're sort of that stable base. And then we're losing people, like right now, 33% of my staff have been with us for a year or less.
The Texas Juvenile Justice Department has also been faced with budget cuts.
TJJD, an agency that has been plagued by underfunding, plagued by understaffing, plagued by a disturbing history of sexual abuse that I think we're all aware of. The 5% cut was imposed on y'all. You were not exempted. Is that correct?
Correct.
TJJD has also seen a spike in suicidal behavior at times, while the intake list continues to grow with no sign of reduction. Agency leaders say a solution is more funding, not less.
Governor Abbott's office says it will support a proposal from the Juvenile Justice Office to increase salaries and hopefully hire and keep qualified staff. A Katy couple hoped to just add one more kid to their family. They got the surprise of their lives when mom got pregnant with quadruplets. Marcelino Benito shows us how they're making it work.
It's not always this quiet. Dane.
Inside the Hagler home, feeding times
I thought it was going to be this crazy chaos with screaming babies.
Are truly a sight to behold.
And we're going to knock this out.
4 babies, Adam, Bennett, Kobe, and Dane, all hungry at the same time. Takes teamwork.
Badger, Bennett, burping Kobe. I'm nursing Dane and Adam.
Luckily, there's lots of hands ready to help.
There are moments of chaos, but it's not what I expected.
Parents Gabby and Patrick's journey has been anything but expected. They got married in 2018, a blended family, each with a child from a previous marriage, Paxton and Callie. It didn't take long to become a family of 5 with Sammy, their now almost 3-year-old son.
Life was already hectic and busy and everything.
Gabby got pregnant again, but suffered a miscarriage. After healing from that loss, the couple wanted to try again.
So we decided, like, we'll do one more, and then that's, we'll be complete. With one more. Well, yeah,
with a fourth.
After taking fertility medication, they got pregnant again, and at their 12-week ultrasound, the surprise of a lifetime.
She's just ecstatic, with this counting. We're like, are you counting limbs? Like, what are we counting here?
She said, wait, there's 4. And we're like, 4 what? She's like, 4 babies. Do you know you're having 4 babies?
Oh, it was
and
her,
yeah, and the look, I remember the look, my look was just like.
For the next 5 months, Gabby and her husband navigated the high-risk pregnancy.
It became this really beautiful sort of group effort where everybody was believing that these boys could make it to that day, and we did.
And at 34 weeks on June 22nd, Adam, Bennett, Kobe, and Dane were born.
Because it's like, wow, I mean, those are 4 babies at the same time.
3 weeks after birth, all the babies were finally able to head home.
The love in this house now is tangible.
This family of 9.
There you go, you want to hang out with your brothers?
Finally complete and ready for the journey ahead.
We're looking forward to, what life has in store for these guys.
4 beautiful babies all at once means it's a lot harder for this family to get around, so they're hoping to purchase a Ford Transit passenger van for their whole crew to get around in. If you'd like to help the family, we have their GoFundMe page up on KHOU.com right now.
Several different districts started school this week. On Wednesday, it was the first day for students all over Houston, including in Klein ISD. Dave Freilich shares that marked a special moment for a pair of new principals.
It's no big secret, identical twins are often close.
We've really got to help each other with hiring, too.
But you'd be hard-pressed to ever find a pair as close as Charlotte Wilson.
Left to Charlotte, that's me, okay.
And Carissa Rogers, the brand new principals of Mahaffey and Crone Elementary Schools in the Klein Independent School District.
This is a great year for us because it is our first year as principals, and we are doing it together. So we are both first-year principals for our district that we grew up in.
In fact, they've done almost everything together. Other than the first 2 years of college where they attended different universities, Charla and Carissa have been joined at the hip. And when it was time to graduate, they knew they wanted to come right back to Klein ISD.
That was always something that we wanted as soon as we could start applying for jobs. That's where we were looking.
Once the twins landed those jobs, they never left. Over the last decade plus, they've gone from first grade teachers to specialists and assistant principals to now leading schools of their own. Along the way, they've even found themselves working alongside some of their old teachers.
A testament that I used to tell my students is you never know when you're going to see someone again. So luckily, we were well-behaved students.
Charla and Carissa know they'll be leading in unprecedented times as schools still struggle to find their way out of the pandemic, and there are more questions about campus safety than ever before. Still, they're confident heading into the school year.
I think every year is going to have a different challenge. And, as the role of principal, there's a lot of just having to pivot. And that's what we talk a lot about is what are we going to take on so that our teachers don't have to.
That kind of leadership can get lonely, but it won't be a problem for these two.
We talk every single morning at 6:30 and check in with each other. Someone knows exactly what I'm going through and exactly what needs to be done.
It's probably no surprise these two love taking family vacations together. They say it's another perk of working in the district together that they've never had to worry about coordinating those schedules for time off.
As students head back to school, the number of monkeypox cases is on the rise in the Houston area. On Wednesday, Lauren Tellerico looked into whether parents should be doing anything differently to protect their kids.
COVID-19 put a damper on a lot of school excitement since 2020, and now monkeypox is spreading quickly worldwide. But unlike COVID, monkeypox doesn't spread as easily. So we asked the experts.
Is monkeypox something that parents should be concerned about? Right now, the number of cases in children has been extremely low.
This is Dr. Stacy Rose, assistant professor of infectious diseases at Baylor College of Medicine.
We are still seeing the majority of transmissions related to sexual contact.
The CDC reports at least 5 cases of monkeypox in children in the U.S. Health officials say they likely got it from a household member who had been exposed. But what about a school setting?
Can monkeypox spread on surfaces? That the virus can live on the surface of something like towels or bed linens.
As far as catching the virus from a doorknob, desk, or chair,
I imagine that the risk from those sorts of surfaces is going to be extremely low. And I would say the good news is that because of COVID, a lot of daycares and schools implemented very frequent hygienic practices for high-touch surfaces.
Spring ISD Superintendent Dr. Lupita Hinojosa says that's true for her district, and they'll be
cleaning and double cleaning those high-touch areas.
Disinfectants like Clorox or Lysol should be sufficient, Dr. Rose says.
So I don't think that parents need to be overly concerned.
But make sure you are still paying attention.
Yeah, our sort of antennae should go up if you see a rash.
I'm Lauren Tellerico, KHOU 11 News.
Greg Abbott and Beto O'Rourke can't seem to agree on when to debate ahead of the November election for governor. Gerald Harris breaks down what each side is asking for.
Governor Greg Abbott announced he accepted a debate offer in the Rio Grande Valley against Beto O'Rourke, but the September 30th debate is still up in the air.
90 days is a lifetime.
O'Rourke countered, saying he wants to do 3 town hall-style debates across the state, not just one. But KHOU political analyst Bob Stein says for Abbott's campaign, they see one debate as enough.
He feels one debate will be sufficient. The polling data now is pretty consistent. The margin that is between the two candidates is shrunk to single digits.
Nexstar, which proposed the late September debate, said in a statement to KHOU 11 News, the debate is still in negotiations. For Abbott's campaign, they're hoping to capitalize on a made-for-TV debate.
He said, we'll do one debate, not anymore, but we need to do one debate. And his hope is that that will give him a lot of what we call video clips, mistakes.
But O'Rourke, who has spent the last few weeks traveling and campaigning throughout the state, wants to answer televised questions from voters. His campaign saying, while Beto has held 80 town hall meetings where he has answered over 500 questions from Texans from any political party in every part of the state, Abbott has not held public town halls where he takes questions in person from those he is supposed to serve. Stein says Abbott's campaign sees an opportunity with O'Rourke chipping away at the governor's voting coalition.
You debate him to draw out your base. You debate him to undermine confidence that his base can help win the day for Beto O'Rourke. But not more than one debate.
In Houston, Gerald Harris, KHOU 11 News.
On Thursday, we learned the man who helped one of the most infamous killers in Houston history is asking to be released from prison. Elmer Wayne Henley is the sole surviving accomplice of Dean Corll, known as the Candyman. Grace White shares he's being considered for compassionate release.
They are murders that go back to the 1970s.
The reason they were called the mass murders because the term serial killer hadn't even been coined yet.
But serial killings are exactly what they did. Investigators believe Dean Corll, known as the Candyman, is responsible for the deaths of 28 boys, along with his accomplices David Owen Brooks and Elmer Wayne Henley. Now at age 66, Henley is the only one left alive, and according to this notification received by the victims' families, being considered for medical parole. Andy Kahn of Crime Stoppers is joining the family's fight against his release.
It just brings all the horror back, even though it's been 40, almost 50 years for some of these families.
According to data from TDCJ, last year, 2,508 inmates were considered for medical parole. Of those, 222 were screened and 48 were approved.
Usually it's for a terminal illness.
Dr. Jay Coons is an assistant professor at Sam Houston State University. He says while what's also called compassionate release has been around for decades, it's a delicate decision that the parole board has to make.
The state has to balance between the individual, what is fair to that individual given the crime, as well as the victims of that crime and the public at large.
Henley was convicted in 6 of the cases and received a life sentence for each, but has come up for parole a number of times because of sentencing guidelines at the time of the crimes, causing painful memories to resurface for victims' families.
They never really got a chance to heal and move on because they've constantly had to deal with parole issues.
Officially, TDCJ could not confirm Henley's consideration for medical parole, despite the fact the agency is notifying victims' families. Those families hoping to share their concerns with the parole board next week.
New numbers released Thursday reveal affordable housing is getting even harder to find. The Houston Association of Realtors says prices are going up, and as Tiffany Craig explains, there's no relief for renters either.
It doesn't matter if you're renting or buying in Houston. A new report from the Houston Association of Realtors finds that you'll pay even more. $357,200. That's the median price for a home in Houston right now. It's a $50,000 increase year over year. And to be able to afford a home at that price, only 39% of Houstonians make the income. It's $89,000 a year. And there's no relief for home renters either. The monthly median lease payment jumped from $1,850 this time last year to $2,050 now. And that doesn't include a deposit and utilities. The annual salary needed to afford that rent check is $82,000, and only 43% of Houston households make that much.
As kids head back to the classroom, breakfast is key to getting them ready to learn. Stephanie Whitfield offers some easy, brain-boosting breakfast ideas.
We know mornings can be chaotic when you're trying to get the kids out the door, but experts say breakfast is a critical part of the routine because food, especially the right foods, are fuel for learning.
It's going to be really important in the morning just because kids can't learn if they're hungry, they're distracted or even dehydrated. So making sure that they're hydrated is really important.
Dolores Woods is a registered dietitian with the UT Health School of Public Health. She says protein, fruits, veggies, and whole grains are all part of a well-balanced diet. But certain breakfast foods have been shown to boost brain health. Woods says eggs are a good source of choline.
All types of berries are really great too because they're high in these antioxidants that are also really great for brain health.
You can get omega-3 fatty acids from flax seeds, walnuts, and salmon, although you may have trouble getting your kids to eat fish first thing in the morning. Wood says the key is to get them to eat something healthy.
Some kids, they don't want to eat breakfast, but find that one thing that they like. Maybe it's something like a smoothie where it's easier to drink and get, your calories in, or maybe it's a piece of fruit with some milk. So it could be something lighter, but just to get something in them.
Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.
Thursday night, the Houston ISD School Board agreed to spend millions of dollars to make sure district police officers are better equipped to respond to an active shooter. And on Friday, Marcelino Benito looked at what that means for the start of school in a little more than a week.
You can turn HISD into the military and still not prevent a single school shooting.
Emotions running high at HISD last night.
The emotion comes when you think about looking at your child in a casket.
As trustees debated how best to keep students and teachers safe.
Uvalde police were locked and loaded to the teeth. They prevented nothing.
If the rifles would slow someone down to allow someone to come in and rescue children, I'm all for it.
The board divided, but ultimately approving $2.3 million to purchase hundreds of rifles, shields, and ammunition and other gear for district police.
It's not about militarizing our campuses. It's about being prepared for the most difficult situations.
The vote coming a week after Superintendent Millard House II told the board police were not prepared to respond to an active shooter.
Officers are ready to enter, and they will enter the school and the classroom in case of an active shooter, in the event that we never want to happen. But this decision tonight will help us get the tools necessary to, when we come across those obstacles, we could breach the door, break the windows, and get in there and save lives faster than we could without the equipment.
The teachers union applauding the board's decision.
From the teachers that I have spoken to last night and this morning, there is a little sense of security now because they know that at least someone has the ability to protect them against an intruder with an assault rifle.
A majority of speakers last night spoke out against spending millions on police gear. They told the board there are more pressing needs for school security, but the teachers union says this is a strong start.
But we can't stop and just say that's not what we want in our schools. No, none of us want it. But I want to know that my grandkids are going to come home from school every day, too.
While a lot of students are back in school already, another round of districts starts up next week. That means this weekend could be a last-minute scramble to get backpacks loaded up to get kids out the door on time. Michelle Choi shares expert tips to keep yourself and your kids organized.
Hey moms and dads, we get it. The thought of having to organize your home for back to school might seem like a lot, but turns out it can be done quite easily and on a budget. To help navigate us is Nicole, owner of Space to Breathe. She's a professional organizer. When it comes to getting your kids ready for school, Nicole says saving time is key. Here are some of her get up and go morning tips. First, create a morning routine checklist for your kiddos.
For us adults, it's easy to remember what we need to do in the morning and brush our teeth, but for kids, not so much. So an actual checklist helps them be independent and take care of themselves, and it helps parents not to keep saying over and over again each day what they need to do.
She says checklists don't have to be fancy. In fact, a cost-free option, just print one.
For smaller kids, you would probably want to use lots of pictures. For kids that kind of like to actually check something off, you might want to use a dry erase board.
Another big time saver, Nicole says pick out your children's school clothes for the week on the weekend with them.
And then this can be done by using an organizer like this. So we decide what we want to wear, and then we put Monday through Friday's clothes in each bin.
But if a bin doesn't work for you, Nicole says you can buy hanger connectors like these to hold outfits together. A pack of 60 will cost you just under $10 on Amazon, or simply use a rubber band. If your kiddos like to take lunch to school, Nicole says save time in the kitchen by creating a lunch making station.
For me, it's a cabinet. It could be a pantry space, but they have one place to go where they can get everything they need. Lunch boxes, water bottles, containers that they might need to put their little yummy things in.
She recommends storing food items in clear plastic bins so kids can easily see and grab what they need. Bins like these can be purchased, she says, for under $10 at your local big box stores. And finally, there's the drop zone.
It is so hard to get kids all round up with everything they need and get out the door on time. So a drop zone, something like this, would help you and your kids.
Nicole says it's best to hang your kids' backpacks, jackets near the home entrance so it's ready to go. But if a furniture piece like this is too pricey, she says you can DIY using sticky hooks and a cube organizer. She created this look for around $100, a budget-friendly option that still gets the job done. Now, you just heard a lot of great tips from Nicole, but she says if it feels a bit overwhelming, not to worry, just pick one or two to start and you can customize it to your family's needs. I'm Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News. Hope that helped you catch up on this past week. Now you're ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU 11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. Have a great week.